We got a new update coming today on the Texas Chainsaw Massacre game. Major changes are coming. The one that most people have been waiting for is this nerf to the Sissy killer, which people have been complaining about a lot. It's not really like a nerf, it's more like a fix, as the killer has been bugged for quite a while. As is mentioned in the patch notes, there is a bug that resulted in all CC attacks having the poison effect. And this pretty much like gives like a slowdown effect to the survivors every time CC hits them. So it just can be very frustrating to dealing with the Sissy killer while trying to escape from her. Has every time they attack, and especially when they use the rubber legs perk, which are the ones that they are supposed to slow down survivors by a certain percentage while they get poisoned. But usually that is supposed to work when they are poisoned by the poison cloud, whatever. Like they're supposed to get in contact with that. But it was resulting that every time CC attacks the survivors, they just keep getting more and more this slowdown effect. They just keep getting slower and slower, which pretty much like results in like no way getting away from Sissy. So Sissy with the rubber legs was really broken with that, just like incredible slowdown effect every time that she attacks a victim. So they are fixing that. Sissy normal attacks will no longer have the poison effect. Special blend can still provide a poison attack only on her next strike. Rubber legs can still slow down the victims already affected by the poison, but again, it has to be counted with the actual poison. Her melee attacks will no longer be doing that crazy thing that they have been doing over the last weeks. Other things that have been fixed, players blocking themselves. We resolved an issue where a player could block themselves, resulting into matchmaking issues and errors. There are a lot of problems like in this game. I every once in a while I'm like streaming this game and playing it, I get some like handle bug, and I'm kept telling like this game it has a lot of problems, but I'm not sure if they're gonna fix the ones that like I had some issues with disconnecting. I had some issues with the characters, the just not being able to attack anymore, not being able to interact anymore. There's still some problems. Change the fuse box locations on Slaughterhouse. The fuse box will no longer spawn next to the Slaughterhouse door. We have replaced that with a new spawn on the side of the shed near the valve exit gate. I suppose it is a little bit easier to control. Killers won't have to go all the way there to try to control the fuse box. The fuse box are gonna be next to the one of the doors that is like in the grass that leads to the car, I think the generator area. And then the other one is gonna be like usually close to where Grandpa stays, and this one is also very close to it. So it's gonna be easier for the killers to control the fuse box in this area. So yeah, it's kind of like a little buff. Also, the valve handle spawn locations on Slaughterhouse have been changed. They moved the spawn location of the valve handle on the side of the garage to be in a more high traffic area. Yeah, they're making because they probably realized that Slaughterhouse is the map that is the most victim-sided. It is the easiest one for the victims to escape, and usually they go for the valve exit. The valve and the fuse are just like the easiest ones to escape in that map. They are just a little bit too easy, so they're changing the locations to make it a little harder for the survivors to be able to pull this. We move it to spawn location of the valve to be in a high traffic area. We move it to spawn location of the valve handle on the side of the animal pen to be also in a high traffic area. So like they changed the two locations of the valve handles. Okay, let's see how that goes in practice. Let's see if like the win rates for the Slaughterhouse map get a little more balanced like this. Stunned. Efficient grappler perk levels reduced. This perk provides a percentage chance to keep is scrapped after a close encounter. 10, 15, 20% by level 3. So they nerfed this one. The grapple levels they reduced. Is this supposed to be a nerf? Yeah, I mean they say that they're reducing. So yeah, maybe there was just being a little annoying against the killers, so they could just be able to keep like always using this scrap and this sun animation. Efficient backstabber perk levels reduced. Also another nerf. So they nerfed two perks which are related to just using these scraps and to be able to backstab the killers and be able to stun them. Okay. I think I'm okay with that for the most part. I think it does make sense. I think the stun animation for these survivors against the killers can get a little bit annoying, to be honest. I feel like it does get a little bit annoying after a while, you know. And I feel like in certain occasions, like it's too easy for the survivors to keep like stun locking the killers over and over, not allowing them to get away from it at all. Connie ability and Leland ability cooldown has changed. They has added have added to the base cooldown time for their abilities. So it's now gonna take longer for you to be able to reuse those abilities. Connie and Leland, I think they're overall the best survivors. Leland can knock down the killers. It can even work with more than one, to be honest. I've seen occasions where Leland pretty much like was able to stun like 2-3 killers at once. If they're very close to each other, his stun ability can work in everyone, and Coney ability is just like an instant lock. You get a free unlocking to one of the padlocks or one of the locks in the door, so very powerful as well. So now it's gonna take a little bit longer, but usually it doesn't make that much difference because usually you just need to use it once to secure a win sometimes. But yeah, now it's gonna be harder for them to be able to pull it like twice or 3 times in a match, which for me I think I was able to use like Coney ability 2 times in a match so far. And it did help me. It does help a lot. Escape restraints minigame, the one I believe at the start. We have adjusted the minigame to escape your restraint at the start of the match. It now is going to require slightly more taps, so it's going to take a little bit longer. So they're slowing down the early game for the survivors, in which I get it because sometimes the survivors can easily speedrun at the start. So it's going to take them a little bit longer for them to escape the restraints at the start. So maybe they won't be able to just get to Leatherface and stun him before even the early cutscene, like the starting cutscene of the match even ends, you know? So, yeah, I guess that can help a little bit, and so the killers might have a little bit more time, like, up there to be able to just move things. So it's gonna take a little, it's gonna, like, make this start for the victims a little bit slower. Yeah, I think it's a good change overall. Is strength and stat still affect this minigame, and players can build accordingly. Okay, so that is gonna rely a lot in strength and stat. Those attributes might make a difference in this minigame. 7-player requirement. We have restated the 7-player requirement for lobby so much because yeah, that was kind of like nobody's gonna start a match with only 6 players. Like people refuse, especially the killers. 2 killers cannot handle 4 survivors. It's just impossible. Like it's just like, especially like if it's like Slaughterhouse, they are completely screwed. So like nobody was gonna play with like a six players. Like nobody's gonna be willing to do that. Like unless a group of players are challenging themselves. So my opinion on this patch notes, I mean, very simple one, but we're getting like patches pretty much like every week so far, so it's good. It's minor, just a little bit changes here and there, but I think it's overall good. Fixing Sissy, just making her work as is intended. Kind of like a little buff to the killers on Slaughterhouse, that is good. I've been complaining about the map. Nerf to the survivors, 2 survivors perks, nerf to 2 survivor abilities, which yeah, I think this patch is pretty much like a small, soft nerf for the victims. And I get it because yeah, the game is kind of victim-sided, so despite some people refusing to believe it, I think that the update can be, but it's still like we gonna require more time of playing the game and just testing stuff out to see exactly if those things in practice they're gonna really make some difference, because maybe they have like analyzed the win loss rate data information on the matches, and maybe they have seen that like the survivors are winning a little bit too much more than the killers, so they're trying to balance that out. So I believe that might be the reason for the nerf. So I think they're very welcome. I think this is overall a good idea. I think they are going into a good direction within this patch.